kidding. You just
Hey,
such
hey,
a good.
everybody, welcome back. We're being virtual. We were having some computer issues, but it was actually my volume was down. Anyway, Jamie, good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. All right, good. Tell everybody what we're talking about today, Jamie.
Hi, everybody. We are talking about how to set your business up to scale. Now, some of it's going to be about virtually scaling, but a lot of it's just for any business out there, virtual or not. So hopefully everybody can get a little something from it.
Yeah, I think, just one quick thought about scaling is, and we've talked about this many times on the show before, but one of the key things to scale any company, period, the end, and many companies have found this post-COVID, is you must have systems and processes for people to follow, step by steps, so people know what to do. If you don't take the blueprint that's in your mind and put it in a step by step, then you can't scale as quickly as you want to. If you look at McDonald's, right? McDonald's has a step by step and a system and a process for every single thing it does. And what it does is it takes the decision making and it takes the thinking out of what somebody needs to do on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't mean that the people who work there aren't smart. It means that they run an efficient shop. It's why you can get a hamburger in 5 seconds, right? Because there's a system and a process, and the end result is the consumer benefits. So, so growing virtually is so important. So kick us off, Jamie.
Yeah, well, that's a perfect point and a segue into kind of one of the things that we were going to talk about is systems and processes, but beyond just being super efficient, systems and processes are the way in which you take your secret sauce and then you can scale. Not only, let's say you're going from one unit to multiple units, you need your brand, your culture to follow suit, and the only way you can do that is if you don't have different people running your same business in different ways.
Correct.
So that is the systems and processes. So great point.
Thank you.
I would say that the first thing to consider is, do you have the right people in the right seats? And that's something that you always say. If you don't, you need to know who can help you grow and who is on board with what your brand is, what your vision is for the future. And not only that, have you analyzed your team, and how have you analyzed your team? So John, do you have a few tips on how people can start to analyze teams?
Yeah, you gotta, first of all, to make sure everybody's in the right seat, doing the right things, right people, right seats, you gotta make sure that you have people say, well, do you have a job description? I'm not a big fan of job descriptions because they're vague and seem to mean nothing. But what are the 3 to 5 specific and measurable things that every single person needs to be doing? Then you either need to train them up, you should always be training consistently, or determine if they are even capable. Mm-hmm. So if they're not, you got to sometimes move their seat and then determine if there's a place for them. I will say rule number 1, get rid of all toxic people. Toxic people in an organization will take you down. And I see so many companies, as I'm coaching people all over the country, small, medium, and large, they keep people who are very, very, very toxic. And that's a bad formula.
Yeah. People need to vent up, not vent to their peers or vent down. So if you have your ear to the kind of the grindstone of your business, you know who those people are and what there's kind of starting to spread throughout your organization for sure.
Right. And I'm not saying, everybody has different personalities. But I'm talking about truly toxic people should not be within a company. And if you are listening to this and you're that toxic person,
change.
Right. Like leave your stuff at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. What's next?
Talking about a solid mission, vision, values, a set of those to drive your culture. And so that as you hire new people and as you bring on new processes and onboard new clients and all of those things, you have some real foundation and guiding principles to set everything and measure everything by. You can always go back to those and say, does this align with our guiding principles so that we can move forward? And that includes, do you want to scale across, go from two units to 8 units, or is that not really in line with your vision? Or do you want to go from a 10-person company to a 100-person company. Everything should be measured back to your mission, vision, values, and guiding principles.
Yeah, and I've been doing a ton of these with companies because everybody's had to reset their mission, their values, their vision, since COVID. And these are critical. And I just want to highlight one thing. It's also really important to know from a recruiting standpoint, right? How the questions that you ask, the people that are attracted to your company, the people, you talk right people, right seats. You want to make sure that they align in a way with the new and improved vision, mission, and vision that you have as well. Jamie, you there? You look frozen.
I'm there. You were frozen.
Okay.
Are you there?
I'm there. Yeah.
Okay. Technical difficulties, such as is life right now. Everybody has to be flexible and adaptable.
Right.
So yeah, and I was actually going to say that you were doing this well before COVID, because as my business coach, you came into a business that I was working at and helped us set these from the scratch. And we brought in a team of people, and you spent hours with us, and really ended up giving us that light bulb moment at the end that we needed to say, this is it. And so you were instrumental in helping the last.
That was fun. All right. What's next, Jamie?
Okay. Onboarding new hires. So you have to have a process for this. How do you onboard new hires so that you can train them in a way that they can make sure that they're running their departments or their roles in the way in which you see your vision and your vision of your business growing. So you don't want people coming in and having no idea what to do, how to scale, what your vision is. Be transparent about your vision, even for new people, so that we can all roll the boat in the same direction, I guess. And having an onboarding is crucial because it sets the tone for them for the rest of their time at your company.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add about onboarding is sometimes people say, okay, you're going to onboard and it's going to be over the next 5 days, or you're going to onboard over 2 weeks. Onboarding should be a 1-year process. And what I mean by that is, you can't just let somebody go. There should be, checkpoints. There should be times where you're connecting with them. You got to always be reconnecting with your people, especially now when you're working remotely. It's not like, okay, it's been a week. You're doing your job. Great. Like, there's got to be consistent follow-up so people feel connected to you, connected to the firm, connected to their managers, connected to the vision, and just connected in general. We need much more human interaction today, especially when done remotely.
Well, and that's exactly my next point, which is mentoring. And I think so many companies lack this. And I'm not really sure why. You probably have way more of a vision into why people kind of miss on this, but companies have people that are the rock stars, and why having those people mentor others that are newer and share the wealth of knowledge is essential as part of the onboarding, and then even continuing that on for the life of their tenure at the company.
Yeah, well, I think it's a couple of things. One, I'm a big believer we all need a minimum of 3 mentors. Mentors are the way that allow us to grow faster, stay in our lane, the squirrels kind of go away a little bit and get rid of distractions. But I think where companies have an issue is mentoring takes time. Yeah. And there's really a lot of responsibility, as much, if not more responsibility on the mentee than the mentor. The mentee's got to want to be mentored, and you got to carve out the time to do it. But to me, it's a really important element of a company and how they set it up. Mentoring, different generations so they can teach each other things. And just, it's about, I think a big issue is that people have a problem with consistency. So it's about setting a schedule on how often you're going to connect with your mentor and sticking to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then, I think that KPIs and metrics that you're measuring your growth off of, and whether it be like you're in sales and you have closing percentages, or how many prospects you're hitting, and all that data, you should define what your key metrics are, your KPIs, your indicators, And there should be heavy reporting that is consistent and people are held accountable to it. Because if you want to grow, you have to know what's working and what isn't working. And super important. So, making sure that you have the metrics, your people know when to report them, and then you know how to analyze those too. So it's not just numbers on a piece of paper.
Right.
What do those mean, and what do those mean to the function of your business, really? So
I think if you're not, if it gets measured, it gets done. Period. Right. And so you should be running your business. If you have a 3-year plan, reverse engineer to a 2, to a 1, to a quarter, to a month, to a week, to a day. You should know what those metrics are that you need to do on a daily basis to hit your long-term goal.
For sure. And it doesn't mean that if people aren't hitting those metrics that you're gone. No, it's how do you train them up then? What do you need to do? What more processes do you need to put in place? What systems, what you dive in there a little bit and figure out how you can maybe help people get to where they need to be. So that's important. So specifically for virtual companies that are looking to scale, it's really important you have a collaborative software system, something that not only is a communication tool, and you just had somebody speaking kind of to this yesterday on one of your podcasts. I can't remember the gentleman's name.
Yeah, his name is Doug Miller. He's got a cloud-based company. He's been exploding through COVID.
Yeah. So getting somebody like that in, to make sure that your people are communicating properly, that you're set up to communicate and house all of your documents in one cloud-based system so that everybody has access to what they need. You can't scale if everybody needs to go somewhere, or they don't have this document because it's on the computer at the office, it's not on their laptop at home, and so that they're not as efficient. So making sure that you have that. So I really enjoyed that talk yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, it was great. Well, you need software, whether it's Google Docs, you don't have to have money to have collaborative software. You can use Google Docs to collaborate on things. And so I just want to kind of bring that up because as we talk about things, some people think, well, that's expensive and this is expensive, but there are tools out there that you can use that, whether you're a startup or a big company, that are free.
And, for one of the companies I worked at, we used WhatsApp and just not only to communicate key things that were really important to make sure that everybody got the memo in that moment, but also as like kind of a culture builder. We would, people would throw memes out and it was kind of a fun place to connect. And so that's completely free as well. So, it does not have to be elaborate. You don't have to spend a ton of money on it. The last point I wanted to make is customer service, processes, standards, what type of CRM system do you have in place to be able to track leads and customers in the system, your follow-up processes. But in order to scale and make sure that you don't lose sight of the most important thing, which is the customer or the client, you have to have processes and systems in place in order to make sure that everybody is treating the right hand knows what the left hand is doing, and that everybody is treating the customers in the vision that the CEO, the COO, the founder, envisions. You want to make sure that they're an extension of how you would interact as a business owner.
Customer service, goes back to, to serve the customer right, to give that customer the experience that they need. Everything is very experiential. We need the systems, the processes, the right people. You need everything in alignment so everybody internally can have a great experience and then give the customer the best experience.
Exactly.
And one of the things I just want to point out, Jamie, which I think is really important for companies as they're looking to scale, is it doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes companies make things very, very, very complicated. You have and I talk to clients about this all the time. You have leadership teams in companies, whether you're small, medium, or large, you're spending millions, tens of millions, sometimes hundreds of millions to create something. And the people who are creating it are are leadership teams and heads of this and heads of this. And they're very multidimensional thinkers. Well, there's a big group of people within companies that are one-dimensional thinkers. And it's not a bad thing, but they create these big things and then roll them out in a big way where people can't even connect to it. So, well, why aren't things getting done or used? Well, because you're rolling it out in a multidimensional way that's too much. It's too many tentacles for people to process. And so I really want to just kind of focus on keeping it simple, right?
Keeping it simple.
And I think to scale your business, you want to keep it simple.
Yeah, I would agree. It's already going to be complicated enough.
Correct.
Just make sure you have, everything in place. Make sure you have the right people in place. Make sure that you know the tone and the culture you want to set for your company as you move forward, and measure things against that. Every decision you make, every move you make.
Yeah.
So that's what I got today. That's the extent of it.
That was,
it was. We covered a lot in a few minutes. I just think there was great little nuggets.
About virtual learning. I mean, you don't need a 1-hour class. My kids are in high school at the kitchen table and upstairs. This is all they need. No offense to the teachers, but in 18 minutes, we taught them how to run a business.
Absolutely. I know my kids are downstairs with their pod teacher right now, and I'm hoping that they can get a nugget of business too. So
yeah, exactly. All right, Jamie, this was fun. I mean, this was, quick and to the point.
Simple. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. We don't need to have an elaborate 3-hour conversation to get things across. So, and we're going to be on again in a couple weeks, I believe.
Yeah, in a couple weeks. Yeah, this is a new staple show. But Jamie, your business is virtual, helping people, put the systems, the processes in place to scale, like we're talking about right now. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so the best place to get a hold of me is my website, virtualadminconsultant.com. And you can set up a discovery call with me there. My phone number's on there. You can get in touch with me in any way over there. And basically, virtual business consultant. And so, yeah, I'm happy to help anybody that needs it. But I think that we're giving you great nuggets on these podcasts. So hopefully they can run with it.
All right, good. Is it consultant or consultants?
Consultant.
Okay.
I have to think about that. Virtual admin consultant, I think.
Okay, good. All right, good. Hey, all right,
you did it right. Yeah.
I was on an interview a couple weeks ago, and I asked someone, like, hey, tell everyone your phone number, and they couldn't remember it. Right.
I say that there's a lot going on in this brain, and sometimes the files are full and it has to just boot out something important. So
hey, when the story goes that when someone asked Albert Einstein his phone number, he would go to the phone book and look it up, and they would say, Albert, you're the smartest guy in the world. You don't know your phone number? And he would say, I don't like to waste my brain
totally
information that's easily accessible. So I feel the same way, and so no worries. All right, Jamie, this was fun. Great stuff. Thanks for sharing about how to scale.
John. Thanks for having me again.
Highlight a couple things, right? Right people, right seats, train up. Mentors are key. Have a process within your company. KPIs and measuring things are a must. Onboarding is long-term. Have collaborative software. Think about cloud-based. Have systems and processes, and customer service is key.
Awesome.
I mean,
that's not a nutshell. Business in a box.
Right. There you go. Business in a box. All right, Jamie, everybody, thanks for listening. Jamie, that was fun. Thanks so much.